It doesn't matter what state you're in, just own it. Yeah, I use drugs. Done. My name's Matt. I've lived in Toronto for about half my life. I grew up in the suburbs, just outside of Toronto in Oakville. Being close to the city was kind of a benefit. I started coming down when I was, a teenager, as big into the sort of 90s rave scene. Heading down to either Union Station or Nathan Phillips, getting on a mystery bus. You always had butterflies in your stomach because you had no idea what the night was going to be. It was like, the excitement was the unpredictability. Using drugs was never really the escape, it was just entertainment. For someone who's introverted like myself, they allow me to be a little bit more extroverted and go out and meet people as opposed to remaining in my shell sort of thing. Personally, I don't drink, so I use substances. People responsibly drink wine every night. So why can't I responsibly, do a line every other night? As long as it's not getting out of control. Likewise, as long as you're not drinking like 9 bottles of wine every night, you should be okay. A friend of mine brought over meth. I'd only ever snorted it to that point. And we smoked it, and we got really high, and we had sex all night, and it was amazing. The next day, I was right as rain. Most of the guys I party with are HIV positive. I don't think it impacts anything. I don't think it changes anything. PrEP has been a huge part of how I deal with this. I think it's just like a precaution like condoms or anything else. And I feel a lot better when I go out and party knowing that I'm at least, somewhat protected. I think I've noticed in recent years is older gentlemen, not at all what you expect someone to be using. I went to this party in the suburbs. I've never been so confused in my entire life. I rolled up to this guy's house, and it was a mansion. It dawned on me that this guy, although he lives this totally different life than I do, he's right in there paddling, the same boat that we're all in. I met lawyers, doctors, corporate accountants. They have really nice apartments and, or really nice houses, and they got, expensive cars in the driveways. You're partying with guys who earn, $200,000 a year, and, they're hitting the pipe just like you and I, and like everybody else. And it's, in some cases, surreal. I think these guys, they've recently come out of the closet, so it's like they have the knowledge and the usage pattern of an 18-year-old, except they're 50. When you come out later in life, you don't have any of the resources that same young guys have because, you're just not part of the conversation. And it's just something that I think needs to be really, 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 thought about and dealt with. I have ups and downs, just like everybody else, and good days and bad days. Some weeks I'm more stressed than others, and say I'll decide to use heavier one week or not. And it's more of an ebb and flow kind of thing. The pivotal moment where my drug use turned from recreational to escapism, I'd say probably when my best friend killed himself. I didn't really jump off the deep end until after the funeral. That's where it went real downhill, and that was probably the lowest I think I've ever been. And no amount of drugs, nothing that I put in could get rid of that. But drugs smoothed out the peaks and valleys. Instead of it being such a harsh process, it allowed my mind to sort of absorb what was happening. I'm very aware as to, what the warning signs are for me personally. I get into a lot of trouble when I don't address what the issues, or I don't address the problem, or I don't feel it. Address it, feel it. If you don't, the rest of your life begins to crumble, and then that in itself becomes the mechanism that drives usage, right? Is people end up in this despair cycle. One thing goes bad, then the next thing goes bad, then the next thing goes bad. The problems never really go away, they just get worse. And so I always check in with myself daily, how are things? Things are okay, And when things are not okay, I'm aware that things are not okay, right? And if things aren't okay, I know I'm using, be open with it. If that's gonna cause you to go on a massive bender, then, tell people that that's what's gonna happen. It doesn't matter what state you're in, just own it, and if you own it, the guilt goes away. And that kills the stigma. Yeah, I use drugs. Done. The most important thing that any user can do for themselves is figure out the why. Why are you using? And if you can figure out the why, you are in a far better spot to be able to manage than just pouring stuff into this black hole of whatever it is, right? Because that's a bottomless pit. You're never gonna fill that. But if you figure out the why, that pit has a bottom. That's how I approach my own usage, sort of, mitigate the ups and downs of life, What I'd like people to understand about people who use meth and do party is that we're all normal fucking people. This is just what we'd spend our free time doing. I don't see where your stigma comes from. We're just like you, only this is what we do instead of playing softball on Sundays.